Coming on the heels of a hectic last week with so many new product releases and reveals and reviews, I wanted to do something this week that was a little lighter and more fun. So I have this magazine in my collection from 1982, and among the articles are some tips for, well, tips, air quotes, tips for popular arcade games of the day. And some of them are okay, might help you. Others are downright questionable. We'll time travel back 42 years and see how these tips stack up next.
If you're a Gen X grown-up, this YouTube channel is just the beginning. Go beyond gaming with a casual and humorous take on movies, music, TV, tech, pop culture, and more. Hear the weekly Gen X Grown-Up podcast anywhere you like to listen, or visit genxgrownup.com/pod.
Hey there, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John, and I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thank you for taking the time to check out this quick video. So, Dynamite magazine is a children's periodical to which I was subscribed back in the late 70s, early 80s. I think it ran for like 10 or 12 years, but it got less and less frequent and smaller over the years. And in the mid 80s, they decided to do something different. They did a flipper. The other side of the magazine, they split it in half, and the upside down version on the back was actually all about the burgeoning video game industry. Now, the article that caught my eye and had me chuckling was this: Arcade's Fast Tips for Top Video Game Scores. They chose like 20 or 25 different popular arcade games at the time and give a sentence or two to tell you how to get a better score on this game. Now, this predates serious video game journalism. Now, I guess Atari Age was out, which was great. Dynamite had done this conversion, and then I don't think anybody was really taking, let alone publishers, weren't really taking video games as an industry seriously and worthy of criticism and journalism. So the things that appear in here, some of them are a little laughable. And stick around. At the end of this video, I have an idea for something fun we can do in the comments. So let's get started with the first one, which they list as Alpine Skiing. Now, I'm going to assume they meant Alpine Ski. I couldn't find an arcade game called Alpine Skiing. I'm sure that's what they meant. Here's the tip. Whether you're running the downhill course or the slalom course, the gate position you must go through never change. So memorize them. Start your turns before the gates appear. Okay, I would say we're off to a pretty good start with this one. What it's really just telling me is that the thing is randomized, the gates are going to stay the way that they are. So if you can learn, the sequence, left, right, center, right, left, whatever, with these slalom gates, okay, that's a good start, and I think that's maybe one of the best tips in this. So let's move on to the next one. They're all alphabetical here. The next one is Asteroids. This game has a wraparound feature. That means any object that disappears off the screen on one side reappears at the corresponding point on the other side. Be ready and waiting on the other side to blast it. Okay, I mean, they're just pointing out what's obvious. As things go off one side, they come in the other. I think you could observe that yourself before you put in a quarter and know that that's how it works. But in case you didn't, okay, fair enough. Let's move along then to Battlezone, where they say, always keep in mind that you're in a tank and traveling on treads. If you pull one handle all the way while pushing the other handle, the tank will spin like a top. Avoid this at all costs. This might be one of the best recommendations in this list. I've always known that, and basically if you do one stick forward, one stick back, you're sitting duck. You should always steer by doing one stick forward and the other stick neutral, and that way you're kind of going in an arc, and that keeps guys from being able to shoot you when you're sitting still. So good job whoever wrote these. That might be my nomination for the best so far. Let's go on to Berzerk, where they say, keep alert. The robots start firing a split second after each screen appears, and a new round begins. Quickly dodge to the right or left to avoid the robots' fire as you shoot them. Are you just telling me don't get shot by the robots? I know that. That's probably more obvious than the Asteroids one. What are they telling me? The robots start shooting. Move left or right, or up or down, whatever it takes, to not get shot. That's a waste of a tip. I think everybody probably recognized that just by watching the Trax screen. All right, Atari Centipede, here's what they say. Keep the bottom of the screen free of mushrooms. Mushrooms attract the centipede, which of course has the power to destroy you. Now, that's a good tip. Keep the mushrooms clear at the bottom, but the mushrooms attract the centipede? I mean, the mushrooms will make the centipede descend faster because I think that's just wrong. A poison mushroom will make the centipede attack faster, but they're not attracted to mushrooms. Are they? Am I missing something in Centipede? I don't know, you'll tell me, but I think that's not only obvious, but dumb. Okay, here's my nomination for the worst one yet. Defender. Here's what they say. Practice, practice, practice. This is the toughest game of all. That's it. That's all they have to say about Defender. I mean, they're not wrong. Defender is one of the toughest games of all, but you have no tips for me? Not even, dodge the aliens or don't let your guys get picked up? Other obvious crap from the last few? No. Somebody gave up on Defender. All right, let's go to Donkey Kong. Knowing when not to move Jumpman is as important as knowing when to move him. All right, by watching the actions carefully and playing a waiting game, you can often prevent a tragedy. That's oddly insightful. That's true. There are times, you should pause next to ladders, behind ladders, on the downward slope especially. That's not a bad but it's all video games, right? Sometimes you move, sometimes you don't. It's a timing thing. Okay, I mean, it's decent. I'll give them, partial credit. I like that one. How about Frogger? For Frogger, they say, forget about the timer, which gives you 60 beats to get the frog into a dock. That's plenty of time, especially during the early stages. Don't rush. That invites disaster. That's pretty pragmatic advice, actually. I don't remember on the early stages really ever running out of time on Frogger, unless I put in, a token and wasn't paying attention and talking to my friend or something, but that's true. Don't feel rushed in Frogger. Yeah, bide your time, like the Donkey Kong recommendation, right? Wait for your opportunity, then make your jump. So, okay, I like it. Next up, Galaxian. They say, like Space Invaders, this is a shoot and run game. Success depends on your ability to fire and duck to avoid enemy fire. Yeah, okay. Dumb. Okay, how about Gorf? Gorf says, the missiles fired by the aliens are not guided missiles. They drop in a straight line like bricks tossed from the roof of a tall building, which means that you can dodge them. Isn't that kind of the same recommendation? Dodge the bullets, except they're just telling me that in this case the bullets fall straight down? I mean, I'm gonna dodge them? Yeah, it's not very, it's like somebody played it once and went, what's the easiest tip I can give you? Oh, the bullets go straight down. All right, okay, fine. A lesser known game here, how about Kickman? And Kickman says, to get the clown into position, spin the trackball really fast, then stop it dead. Merely rolling the ball won't do the job. Okay, so if you move it slowly and it's not fast enough, move it faster. Is that what I'm reading? Not much of a tip. Okay. Next up is Make Trax. A really cool game where you paint the background. Kind of Pac-Man-y, but different enough, I think. Anyway, they say, always move the joystick in the direction you want the brush to go. Okay, don't stop there. Before you get to the intersection. All right, that's fair. The brush will then make the turn without a second's delay. All right, so like Pac-Man, you can move the joystick in advance of the corner, and you'll kind of do a corner cut there, which is true on Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, and true here on Make Trax. So it will buy you a frame, but I don't know if people back then were even counting frames. They just kept you from hitting a dead end and then turning. So, okay, it's fair. It's fair game. All right, about midway through here, I think we're up to the M's. Missile command, they say. As soon as you press the fire button, whisk your marker to the next target. Never hang around to see the results of your shot. That's probably a pretty good tip for like first or second time missile command players. I think they do tend to fire the missile, let the explosion, and sit and watch the explosions, which now it's too late to get to the next thing. So that's pretty decent, only for a very, very, very rudimentary beginner, I guess, but it's not wrong. It is true. You should do that, and especially on later levels. So, but by the time you get to later levels, you kind of already know. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Moving on. Mousetrap. Practice opening and closing the doors until you can do it automatically without looking. All right. Keep the fingers of the left hand close to the yellow button, moving them to the right or left to press the red or blue buttons. So you're telling me where to put my hands? You're saying do it without looking at the buttons. That makes good sense because you have different colored gates. I mean, that's fair. That's I don't know. That's almost common sense. Like, no, I don't want to. I look at the screen. I don't want to look at the buttons. So learn red, yellow, blue, or there. Okay. Oh, here's the big hitter. Pac-Man. What do they have to say about Pac-Man that we don't already know? Always hold the joystick loosely between the thumb and index finger, even when a monster threatens. With a tight grip, you can't maneuver nearly as well. Now again, how to hold my hand? Look, I'm going to hold it the way it's comfortable. I don't hold it with your thumb and index fingers. That's like your driving instructor, hold it 10 and 2 or so, that. Okay, Pac-Man recommendation. All right, moving on, they talk about Pleiads. Use the warp button only in emergencies. Otherwise, you'll find yourself battling a space monster or Martian when it could have been avoided. Yeah, of course. When you have specials, when you have consumables like smart bombs or hyperspace or teleport or inviso or, in this case, the ability to use your warp, yeah, save it for when you need it. Don't just hit the button because it's fun. That's Again, video game journalism wasn't really a thing yet. And I have a feeling whoever wrote these was an adult told to write about these games that he didn't play. Maybe. I don't know. Moving on to Kix. Kix says, try crossing your wrists. Again, with the whole, how do you hold your hands? That is operating the joystick with your right hand while tapping the draw buttons with your left. If you're a lefty, do the opposite. So the only way to do it right is to cross my arms the wrong way? That's just, no, I'm not gonna do that. How about Scramble? Scramble says, always keep aware of your fuel supply. When the fuel starts to run low, concentrate on speed and on completing the screen as fast as you can. Yeah, of course. That's like the mechanics of the game. If your fuel is low, well, it should say, when fuel is low, shoot some more fuel tanks. Not rush, because you can't rush the game. It's the scrolling speed is fixed. This might be written by somebody that didn't know you could shoot the fuel tanks. Maybe? That's quite possible. Okay, getting toward the end here. Here's Space Invaders. Oh, a classic. Destroy the invaders beginning with vertical rows on either the right or left side of the formation. This slows their descent, giving you more time to clear the screen. This is a fantastic tip. I always tell people this when I see them blasting, up from the bottom, because that doesn't slow how, like I said, the descent, how quickly they can make their way down. You should always clear out columns, not rows in Space Invaders. So either the writer of this article got lucky, or this is just a really good tip and they actually knew it. How about Star Castle, the game that inspired Yar's Revenge, by the way? Keep your spaceship moving as fast as possible. This helps to prevent it from getting blasted out of the sky. Keep moving. Okay, it's like you're coaching, football. Keep moving, or volleyball, any sport. That's like a basic tip any coach tells. Keep moving. Don't just stand around out there. Okay, and that's what you're supposed to do here. Okay. Next up is Tempest, and it says, wear a lightweight, tight-fitting glove on your right hand. Now to have paraphernalia and gear, you'll be able to manipulate the rotary control knob better. No, I have to wear it like, am I gonna be like a fingerless glove guy in the arcade? It's like the guy that walked into a casual billiard game with his own pool stick, right? It's like, well, I'm a professional. Here's my Tempest glove that I don't know. Let's see, and this must be the last one, the Z's, Zaxxon. Use the 3 middle fingers of your left hand on the fire button. Just tap it gently. That's it? That's all you've got? Which fingers to use to push the button? Oh, you can't get high scores unless you use these fingers. Whatever. I don't know. When I was reading through this magazine and looking at it, I found this article made me chuckle several times, and I thought maybe I would share it with you. So the thing I'm going to invite you to do in the comments before we leave is, you've seen these, you've seen kind of in the vein that they are. Pick your favorite arcade game and give me a 1 or 2 sentence ridiculous recommendation for strategy. How I could best get a high score, but for 1982, if you were added to this article, it would fit in. I can think of a few. Maybe, yeah. It could be any arcade game, Date doesn't matter. Put that in your comment if you think of one. I think it'd be fun to do. Anyway, that's it. Happy to share this with you. Thanks for watching. I'll throw a couple links here and here to some other recent videos that I've produced. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this one. I can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.